I think Poch will do well, and I know he's not perfect, and I know the Chelsea time and the PSG time in the end were maybe more or less successful than maybe we thought it might be. Maybe, but I think this is a good signing. Do you? And obviously, there's the World Cup coming up, and which I would think is a bigger appeal for Poch to have accepted the job. Do you think he will do well? Do you think he has enough time now in 2 years to get things ready for what is still a young squad? And we can debate of the talent of the squad. There is a lot of talent in certain positions, not so much in others. What do you think he will do?
So, a couple of things on that one. If we say do well, define success, right? In some ways, we're talking quarterfinals.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was going to say. That should be the objective.
Right, but you look at it and you say, okay, well, this team's reached the round of 16 a billion different times. That's kind of been the hurdles, the quarterfinal, semifinal, whatever. It seems to me like you're at home in a World Cup. Is that really an ambitious goal? Is this why I'm paying Poch? Could I not get any old American Stromil to do that? Could Jesse Marsh not do that, right?
Yeah.
So I think that's an unfair way to look at it. I think his impact is to go beyond simply what results you get in the tournament, because that could also come down to the draw. It could come down to many different things. And it comes down to talent and player availability. When we talk about, I'll just throw something out to you, right? Who is very good and has been very good and productive on the pitch and is a U.S. player in the last 12 months? I would argue, I'll go first. Pulisic, that's the obvious one.
Yeah. You
could make a case for Anthony Robinson.
Yeah.
Right?
I guess so.
I'm talking club level.
Yeah.
Okay, and then.
Yeah, then it's difficult.
Do you know what I mean? Like, I know some of our colleagues in the US were going on
but
about Weston McKennie. Oh, Weston, he played the third most minutes for Juve. Yeah, it's a Juve team that wasn't spending anything. Doing well.
Same for Yunus Musa. He's not really a starter enough in Milan to...
Musa's not there yet. Tyler Adams, I have no idea if he's injured again. I'm assuming he is, right? Because he usually is. Serginho Dest, career went nowhere. Matt Turner, a reserve. Maybe there's other keepers who can step up. I don't know. Is the answer.
Of course. Joe Reyna is obviously, I think, the prime example of all of this.
Gio Reyna, because he's the value added, right? With Pulisic are the guys who, in theory, in practice, have this incredible ability. I kind of feel like you've got 2 years to play consistently, harness that. And the reason it's important for these guys to play consistency is that if you can play consistently at a high level, you also bring with you experience, leadership, all these things that and you can learn by playing at a high level for an extended period of time at a Champions League club. And I think the reality is McKennie, you can argue, has done that a little bit, and Pulisic has done that. I might be forgetting somebody, not too many others.
You think that Tim Weah at Juve in the Champions League with Thiago Motta, if he's really a starter, can improve massively? I think
that's a big if. That's another one, right?
Same with Balogun and Monaco in the Champions League as well. So all that experience that you're mentioning, they can get that between now and the World Cup, and they will obviously be 2 years older as well. I'm hoping that a Tanner Tessman in France at Lyon, if he does play and get that starting place.
First John Texter reference of the show.
Yeah,
not the last one.
Could really improve too. So I think there's huge potential that maybe just need to be unlocked a little bit.
I don't know if I would use the word huge potential. There is potential.
There is. But considering the World Cup is at home for them, that becomes huge potential, because if you develop that potential, plus the home crowd, plus the support, being in your own country, all of that can be a very good World Cup. It should be a very good World Cup.
I think the tools are there, but I think really the impact for him is going to be the way he's going to be judged is going to be more broadly, more culturally. Can he put the sport on the map in the U.S. in a more mainstream way and a more lasting way, right? Because we know they all tune in when there's the World Cup, men's or women's and stuff like that. But then people lose sight of these guys. I feel like, I could be wrong on this, I'm not an expert, but I feel for like sort of the non-football fan in the U.S., they will tune in for the World Cup the way they tune in for the Olympics, right?
Yeah.
Watch it, I get really into it, and then, oh, look, NFL training camps are starting, right? That, I think, is the challenge for that great leap forward.
Yeah.
It's not like Pochettino to solve
that's
it for
fair.
himself,
Yeah.
but it is an opportunity.
Yeah.
And the way he talks about the U.S. men's national team and the way he deals with it in the coming years, I think, is a factor.
Yeah, no, I agree. I absolutely agree with that. I just think this is a good. They needed to do something different, really. After Greg Berhalter, after all those years, they had a lot of applications from big names manager. I think
Not
a lot
just
of
them,
people,
but Gareth Southgate too.
But
See what I did there?
I don't know if Gareth Southgate was a candidate, but I know that they've had some massive names putting themselves forward for the job, which is great. So it shows that it's appealing. But the World Cup being obviously in the US helps massively for that. But I just think they had to do something different. They did. And now I just hope it works. The fact that Poch had worked with people who are at the top of the federation is also a good thing, I think. Helps. Mark Crocker knows him really well. They know each other well from Southampton. I think they've worked together before. They can trust each other, which is something that maybe he didn't have in Paris, for example. The relationship between him and the people above him was not that great. I think if that relationship is great now between Poch and the people above him, that's also added value.
And again, I think in his case, I think he's a really bright guy.
Yeah, he's smart.
He could be stubborn, but with this period out, some self-evaluation, and this brings us on my next topic. I'm sure that his people pitched him to other clubs. There were big job openings in the summer. And he didn't get them.
Yeah.
Right? And I think there is a bit of a trend.
Yeah.
Where a lot of clubs are saying, I don't value experience as much. I'm going to go with the younger player. So obviously, we mentioned Arteta at Arsenal before. I mean, Fabian Hurtzler, perhaps an extreme example at Brighton. Although Brighton, there's a theme there because before that, obviously, the Zerbi was in a similar boat, and before that, Graham Potter too.
Yeah,
Chris Hughton, not so much, but Bayern company, like we said. It happens that somebody like Jose Mourinho is now in Turkey. I think there's a feeling that clubs look at this and say, look, obviously an Ancelotti or Pep Guardiola is a major value add. But a younger coach will often be even more hardworking, or can be more hardworking, especially if they have a little track record. Because some expos who go into coaching, all of a sudden, I mean, we've heard this from Stevie Nicol many times, right? It is a lot more work to coach a team than to play in the team. It's just more pressure, more work. You're always on,
it's like
right?
a 24/7 job almost, yeah.
Yeah, some people thrive in that. I mean, Arteta, for example, has shown that he can thrive in that.
Absolutely, yeah.
So you get somebody who's more motivated to work, to make a name for themselves. You get somebody who is necessarily, I think, more up to date with current methods, less set in his ways because he's had fewer influences.
Yeah.
You get somebody who's cheaper, which I think is really important. Yeah. We don't often talk about the compensation of coaches and stuff like that, although weirdly we will talk about it with players, but I think that's a big part of it as well. And I think you get somebody who's more malleable, who's more pliable.
Absolutely.
Enzo Maresca at Chelsea. Like, I'm not saying he's a yes man, but it's pretty obvious that if I'm Enzo Maresca and I rock up at Chelsea and Chelsea say, this is how we do things. Yeah. These are the directors of football. This is our business plan. Can you work within it? I'll say yes. Somebody like Pochettino or Mourinho.
Yeah. Or Conte. Conte was lucky to get Napoli, but yeah.
Conte's an extreme case. Yeah. Or Jurgen Klopp even, from many of the reports that we've had about, out of Liverpool about why Michael Edwards left and then came back after Klopp was no longer there. They indicate that the manager says, wait, this is my team. I'm the coach. I'm the guy who's to face the media afterwards. I want to have more of a say in things, right? Because I work with the players every day, right? I don't know that clubs want somebody like that. And I think they're realizing that this costs us money. This interferes with other parts of the club. It can be a little bit bad for morale. And if it's Pep, and if Pep says, oh, sign me a dog to be Erling Haaland's backup, they'll be like, woof, woof, sure, here you go, Fido. But most clubs aren't going to do that. I mean, he's Pep. He's an outlier.
Yeah. It depends as well on your ownership. There's some owners who want to have that control, that want to be heavy-handed in.
But it's not the owner's control. It's the owner. I think this is the wrong way to think about it. It's the club, the CEO.
Yeah,
Together with the owner deciding this is how we're going to spend a lot of money on scouting, a lot of money on analytics, a lot of money on these fancy directors of football who were once at Monaco and Red Bull, blah, blah, blah. And we're going to look at this in the medium and long term. We're going to have commercial considerations.
Yeah.
A manager, I don't care what they say, they always think short term because it's their backside on the line, right?
Yeah, absolutely, yeah. No, I think it's really interesting. I think we need a bit more time to see if it's really a trend or if at some point some clubs go back to experience. And also
Borussia Dortmund,
winning mentality.
Stuttgart,
yeah, but
Bayer Leverkusen.
True, but Xabi Alonso has won now. But there was a point where if you don't win, if company doesn't win with Bayern, he's not going to stay at Bayern.
No, and he's easier to fire and he's cheaper to fire.
Yeah, true.
Than somebody you bring in than Tuchel was with the kind of contract he was.
I'm all for younger managers, give them a chance, etc. At the end of the day, if they don't win, it's not going to last. So
I think that's going to be the benchmark. We're not saying it's right or wrong. We're saying that it's happening because this is what a lot of clubs believe.
Yeah,
I'm trying to think new hires at big clubs of managers who have had success and are established and expensive. I can think of Hansi Flick.
Yeah.
Conte.
Yeah. In this summer, Luis Enrique, I guess, the summer before that.
Luis Enrique, Paris Saint-Germain.
But
there's not too many others. I'm sure Pochettino, obviously, when he came to Chelsea.
Yeah.
But there's not too many others, right?
No, that's true.
So, I think it's fair to speak of a trend here.